Okay, so it's been a very, very, very long day. It's like I'll be ready when 8 o'clock comes, but then I don't be ready. So anyway, hopefully I don't take up too much of y'all time tonight. I'm gonna start by introducing myself. I gotta get a new little setup going on. Look, it's backwards. Okay, so anyway, my name is Tayla X, and I am a doula. I am a mom, and I'm a student midwife who is trying to basically just do all the things that I could possibly do in one day. That's basically my life as a mom. Hold on, I'm just making sure that the dang audio's even on. Okay, cool. So I look a little bit of a mess today because I had the longest day of my life, basically. Today, I don't even know. Okay, yeah, it's working. Okay, so today I had to work from like 8 this morning, and I have this weird issue with I don't know, I be tired during the day, but then when the nighttime comes and it's actually time for me to go to bed, I have a really a huge struggle with that for whatever reason. So I'm trying to figure out what is the issue. Oh, okay, I see the issue. I definitely see the issue. Hold on one second. Okay, did I already put the topic? Okay, I already got the topic up for tonight, but I want to talk to y'all about my week first because I already promised that I was going to talk about my week, and I haven't been here since Sunday, so a little bit has happened, but not too much or whatever. But a little bit has happened, and I had court on Monday. I know that I'm petty, but I don't honestly care because why would I not be petty is the real question. Like, why would I not be petty when that's who I am? Hey, sis, thanks for coming. Hey, girl. Hopefully this is of some value tonight. Like, I always start off the podcast with just kind of telling y'all my week. Like, if you really want to skip that part, I completely understand, but I got to get stuff off my chest before I even start this part. But tonight we're going to be talking about hospital policy versus your body. So this is all the things that you want to know, need to know, all of the good things that you want to know while you're pregnant, basically. Okay, right? But my week, let me start there. So as I was saying in the last podcast, I got a new job. The job is great. 2 thumbs up. Great. Love it. Today, though, why did I get a Karen on the phone? So like I have to answer some calls, not all calls, but like today was a little bit busier than usual on the call side. And why did I get a Karen? Hope I don't get fired for this. But why did I get a Karen today? Like an African American Karen. So what do we call those? But anyway, she was rough, and she was starting at 8 a.m. I talked to her like 7 times today, starting from like 8 a.m. Bruh, that was one thing I was like, okay. But besides that, I had court on Monday, right? And on a previous podcast, not on YouTube, but on like Google Podcasts, there's a podcast that's titled Storytime, My Last Day of Court. That was almost 2 years ago. Let me see if I can find it real quick, because y'all know I like to pull stuff up. Hold on, because I feel like it's too bright. That was like almost 2 years ago, right? And I'm about to find it right now. I listened to it the other day, and I'm not gonna lie, it was like kind of low-key funny to me. Like, it wasn't emotional like I thought it was gonna be. It was kind of funny because it was like, wow, girl, you really went through the works for like, I don't know how many years. Here it is right here. I'm not sharing my screen. So I have an audio podcast as well as like this visual podcast. Oh my God, they be the worst. They be the absolute worst. I agree. I was just like, girl, are you really doing this to me right now? But yep, she did it. Okay, so I have an actual audio podcast where you could just just listen to the podcast versus actually looking at it. And this is the one, Storytime, My Last Day in Court. I'm not going to play it because it's 37 minutes long. I'm not going to play it. But I am going to drop the link just in case y'all want to listen to it. It's a little bit entertaining. But in the moment, I was really emotional. So you're going to hear me crying and like sounding crazy and all of that. But listen to it when you're bored. It's a nice little intro to what I'm about to tell y'all. Because a little backstory is basically my baby daddy is petty. But I feel like sometimes I can out petty him. If you know what I mean. So we had court. The whole entire court process was initiated by him. Like this was all his idea. He wanted to do it, whatever. Okay, so cool. You basically left me no choice. So let's just do it. My hair is getting so long. But so we had court on Monday. It was virtual. It was on Zoom. It was ghetto because it wasn't like a one-on-one with the judge. It was everybody in court. And I'm in a county that's mostly Caucasian people. So bruh, some of the stories, like listening to those people talk about why they was in court, I was like, why am I here? Like, our problems are not bigger than this. That was the first thing that I thought of. Like, it was people on there that truly had restraining orders, talking about how their children were scared of the dad, all of these things. I was like, why am I here? Bro, this is different. But yeah, I got to hear other people's drama. And then when it was our turn, bruh, this man is like slow. This man is like slow. Like he's got to be like slow. So first of all, the first thing the judge said was that it hasn't been 2 years. Like it has to be 2 years for you to be able to make some type of change to your order. Hasn't even been 2 years yet. He was like, oh, I thought it has been 2 years. Well, it hasn't. And then she was like, unless something has changed. So me listening to the other podcast, I was like, look, here I go again, advocating for the man. Me, I'm like, I speak up because usually in court, the women don't really have to say nothing. It's really just on the men to be like, basically, why are we here and all of that. So I speak up and I'm like, so does the virtual schooling count as a change? Because, you know, he wants them more because they're virtual school or whatever. And then she was like, well, it sounds like you're willing. So why don't you guys just go to mediation? Like, you don't need me to change the court order. Whoo, mediation. Funniest shit ever. There's no mediating with that type of person. There's no mediating with him. So I don't even know why she said that. And I just started laughing in the court. Like, I had to put myself on mute because I'm like, that's not going to help. And I told her, I was like, I don't think mediation is going to help because he wants to hear it from a judge. And I'm laughing to myself because he's literally the type of person he's not going to do it unless he hears it from a judge or his mama, I guess. Like that, it has to be one or the other, his mama or a judge. Let me stop trolling him, man. I was basically trolling him all last night. So this is like part 2. I'm going to send him the link afterwards so he can listen to it. But yeah, he's not going to want to hear from me because as soon as I got as soon as I got served the papers and I was like, oh, you want them for more time? And I was like, when's your next days off? I instantly text him that night. Like, don't you have some vacations coming up? No response. Then I asked him again in person, when's your next vacation? Like, don't you want them more? No response. In person, no response. So then I texted him last night and I was like, okay, I'm looking at like some flights for my birthday or whatever. Can you keep them these days? Y'all, I'm being so messy, but look, I'm like, can you keep them these days? No, he said something slick about what did the judge say? So I was just like, that's what I just told the judge. You're not going to do it unless the judge tells you to. So I don't even know why I'm going through this, but this is my life. This is my life. So other than that, my week has been very uneventful. Yeah, very uneventful. The only entertaining thing I had this week was dealing with him. And I was like, dang, it's been 4 years and you still bitter. Like, that is crazy to me. It's crazy, right? Or am I tripping? But anyway, hey, y'all, I think I'm done now talking about that. So we can actually get into the topic of tonight's topic. And I have a lot to tell y'all because this is like basically one of my favorite topics to talk about, right? hospital policy versus your body. That's what I named it. But this is basically about how doctors feel like they know what's best for women. And this is one of my favorite topics because if y'all haven't heard me say this before, I'm like the most rebellious person that I know. So listening to doctors was never something that was like came so easy to me. Like, I don't know, even before I had the information of like how to eat to live, the teachings, like knowing, I kind of knew growing up because my dad was like, he was like strong on the whole, like, bruh, he was like, people be saying like, oh, black people can be racist, but look, you ain't never met my daddy. You ain't never met my daddy. So yeah, so that is crazy. I have no idea what's wrong with him, but hopefully, I don't know. I'm thinking like a few more years he's gonna get it together. I don't know. Never know how to move or take what they. Oh no, yeah, they definitely don't be knowing what they doing because he could have it so good, but he just doesn't want that. So, girl, unless his mama or the judge tell him, he's not gonna do it. But anywho, yeah, I'm very rebellious, right? Oh no, Jess. Hey girl, I was gonna text you too because I'm like, I don't feel like you on my text list. So that's the other thing I want to say. Text the number because I'm not gonna like be overly telling y'all like, oh, come to the podcast, blah blah blah. Like, text the number only if you want to see, because I do got some stuff, you know, that I be want to talk about, and I'm gonna go live every Wednesday and Saturday faithfully. So you could be prepared for that. But yeah, Jess, you definitely did miss the rant. I can definitely give you a recap anytime, though. Anytime. Hey, Sister Naomi. Assalamu alaikum. But yeah, so the hospitals has always been something that's like, okay, let me just start by telling y'all this one little story about me. And then this will really give y'all a nice little visual of how I am. So me and my baby daddy got in a car accident. I was literally 2 days away from my due date with Bear. So I was full term, like 39 weeks and 5 days. And we got into a car accident. It was terrible. Like, after that car accident, I was actually scared. This is just how bad it was. Like, I was actually scared to be in a car, like letting somebody else drive. And I was scared to be behind the wheel for like months. Like, I was literally traumatized. So like, we were at a stoplight, and if the light's red, it's people on this side and it's people on this side. Is that a good visual? It's people like this. Okay, so we're going this way, it's people going this way. And we're at a red light. But then as soon as the light turns green, the second we got the right of way, we just going straight. Somebody right here comes in front of the car in front of him and tries to hurry up and make a left turn. So we're going straight. Baby daddy he's the one driving. So he's like kind of just pulling off from the light, still going pretty slow. And the guy whips his car right into his front door. Front door comes off. Car is spinning. Front door comes off. Car is spinning. The windshield is gone. Like, I was like so scared that he was going to fly out the car. So I'm like, he didn't have no seatbelt on. I'd be so crazy about seatbelts, but I've been crazy about seatbelts since before because I got into a lot of car accidents with my parents when I was younger. But anyway, as y'all can see, I can kind of rant about anything. But that was how bad the car accident was. We started spinning. We hit 2 other cars and then a pole, and that's what stopped the car from spinning. The other guy's car was total. My car was done. Like, the wheel was off. It was just crazy looking. It was done. This was my very first car. And I was perfectly fine. Baby daddy was perfectly fine. This man instantly got out the car and tried to go fight the man that hit us. So I know for sure he was instantly fine. He was just so mad. And me, I was just like a little bit worried. Like, I think some glass fell on my foot. So that's why I was bleeding, but I wasn't like anything going on. So actually my labor started that same night, not instantly right then and there, but that same night my labor started. So we ended up dealing with the police with the accident. And then they asked if I wanted to go to the hospital. And I was like, no, like I declined the ambulance. I declined that because my baby daddy wasn't trying to leave yet. And eventually, like once we got everything wrapped up there, his mom ended up taking me to the hospital to get checked out because I'm 9 months pregnant. Like I'm pregnant. So they put me on the monitor, the non-stress test. Bruh, I think they even gave me an IV. I can't remember exactly. But mind y'all, I'm 20 at this time. So I'm just like, okay, you know, going with the flow still. Like I went to the hospital that I was actually supposed to deliver to. And my doctor didn't ever show up, but obviously the nurses was helping me. They put me on a non-stress test. And I kept asking them, like, can I leave now? Like, they was like telling me I was having contractions. And this is like all like from like coming together with now the knowledge that I have. But on the non-stress test, they were telling me I was having contractions, but I wasn't feeling them. And that's why I be telling y'all stop getting checked, because you're always dilated. In that last month, you're always gonna be dilated. You always gonna be 2 centimeters or 1 centimeter. They didn't check me right then and there, but I'm just saying those contractions that they can pick up on their meter that I couldn't even feel, that's my body opening itself up slowly, getting ready for my baby to come. So I was just like, no, I don't feel nothing. And I'm just ready to go. Like I was just tired of being in the hospital. So they was like, okay, well, we're just waiting on the doctor. So I literally was like, okay, I'm gonna give y'all 30 minutes. I didn't say that out loud, but I'm thinking in my head, like, I'm gonna give y'all 30 minutes and then I'm leaving. So then 30 minutes went by. My baby daddy and my his mama was like basically watching me like a hawk because they just worried or whatever. So as soon as my baby daddy went to the bathroom, I think his mama was like at the vending machine or something. I started putting on my clothes. Nobody gave me no type of permission. I just started putting on my clothes. And then when the mom came back in the room, she was like, oh, you got discharged? I was like, yeah, girl, come on, I'm ready to go. We get to the elevator. The doctor, not the doctor, but one of the nurses comes to the elevator and stops the elevator like, wait, did you get discharged? I was like, yeah. She was like, but I have your papers right here. So who discharged you? I was like, my baby daddy was so mad. He's like, why are you leaving? And they didn't tell you could leave yet. Because I'm ready to go. So that's just like a little forefront to let y'all know I'm like so rebellious when it comes to like authority. I think authority in general is something, but I don't even want to hear that. Like, I feel fine. Y'all been watching the baby. Y'all said the baby's fine. So why y'all holding me here? Like, for me, that was just annoying. So we end up leaving and going home. But yeah, that's my life. And the problem with me is that I feel like over time, like I started to really look into this stuff and really like research this stuff and really life experiences too. Bro, I cannot just take your word for it. I don't care if you're a doctor. And I feel like is that the first thing on my list or no? Okay, but we're going to talk about that first because y'all know I got my little checklist of what we're going to talk about. Doctor status don't mean nothing to me. Like, it don't mean nothing to me. It's not holding no weight with me. So I feel like a lot of times we just know that they've been through so much school and so much training and they have their degrees and all of that. But what y'all don't realize is that doctors are like some of the sickest people in America. Literally some of the sickest people in America. Like, I have some family members that are doctors. They always sick. And they're very much like just not well. So it's funny because when I was a child, I used to always think that like when I would see doctors that was like really overweight or smoking cigarettes or like they just look sick, like they would be hacking up some. I would always think that there could be healthy, sick people. Like, if that makes sense, just because of the doctor's status. So I feel like that's something that's like, we just gotta really think that through. Like, what are your credentials? Like, on my post not too long ago, I was talking about midwives and how that the title midwife is not enough for me. Like, I need to know who trained you, where's your mindset at, what type of life you live in, like what you finna be prescribing me, what you finna be suggesting to me that I do. Because a lot of times it'd be like, I don't agree with that. Like, some midwives tell you to get in the bath after you have a baby. I wouldn't agree with that. I know some midwives who wouldn't agree with that. Like, not a full bath where your whole body in there, like a sitz bath. Yeah. You know, a shower, duh. But sit in the bath when my womb is this big, like, that's not, I'm just saying. So a lot of times it doesn't matter. Doctor, midwife, whatever their credentials are, like, we got to vet them. We have to really, really, truly vet them. It was something else. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about their training versus reality. So okay, when you're going through the process, so first of all, like the first 4 to 6 years, you're in a classroom with a book. Like it's not hands-on training. Like midwives, especially like going back to like the granny midwives, a lot of their training was hands-on. You're on the move. You're actually doing these things. Like the last time I was at a birth, I actually had to listen and count fetal heart tones. Like right now, I'm in a classroom where I'm listening to it, but actually having a counting, bruh, they hearts be beating fast. I was like, hold on, let me do that again. Hold on, let me do that again. Like they hearts be beating fast. So you got to picture the doctor, the OBGYN, they sit in a classroom for 6 years, 4 to 6 years before they even get in that situation where they're hands-on. How does that make sense? Like I understand with my class, we started in January and it's been nothing but reading. Like it's been nonstop reading. But she's like, okay, you guys are going to be hands-on, for the second half of the year for the rest of the program. The program is 3 years long. So for 2.5 years, it's hands-on. Like you need to be hands-on, actually in the field doing this. And then the textbook part is knowing the terminology, knowing different testing and getting all the basics down, basically. So the reality versus their training is 2 different things. And then once they do get hands-on, guess who they're practicing on? Because there's some. Do y'all watch Grey's Anatomy? Do anybody in here watch Grey's Anatomy? Just let me know, because I already know if Jess is still here. We already know. But they have like this little chain of command thing, right? And it's like a status thing of like, oh, they don't want interns really hands-on like that. They don't want residents messing up their patients or whatever. So like just being able to get that hands-on experience is like even rare once you get in the field. So it's like when they finally do get hands-on training, they're training on not cadavers. I was gonna call them cadavers. Cadavers is like the dead bodies that's donated to the training, but not cadavers, but the plastic dummies, like actual plastic dummies. Let me just see if I can find a vid real quick so I can give y'all a visual. But the thing that I don't like about let's see, OBGYNs training. What's wrong, Bear? Oh, really? Wait, is this one? Oh my god. Not right now. I'm doing a video and you're probably gonna look. Here we go, right here. What's this? How many minutes? 16. We finna skim through it. We're not finna watch this whole thing. Wait, is what good? No, is it good? What you mean? Is what good? Oh, Grey's Anatomy? Girl, no. Sorry. First, I forgot what I said, but no, girl, you gotta watch that. I'm not gonna suggest it. I'm just saying that's where I get a little bit, the whole hospital experience from. Look, this is what they're training on. The dummies. Girl, a robot body.
Mannequins.
Oh, she said simulated mannequins.
7, 8, 9, 10. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh no. This is the position that they want y'all to be in. This is what makes it. Sorry, let me put
brown scrub.
This is what makes it so easy for them to work, because that's how they were trained. They weren't trained in the field on actual moms, so they can actually see, like, man, this mom won't sit down. One of my moms, I don't know if she in here, but one of my moms literally would not sit down. Like, I'm trying to do my little techniques, the hip squeezes, the little counter pressures. She would not sit down, though. She would never stand still. Like, with every contraction, she was doing this and moving, walking through the house, leaving. She would jump out of the birth pool and leave. Like, so no, it's not going to be all peaches and cream with a mom. Hold on, let me see if I can find the dummy again. Just laying there on her back. Girl, I don't even know. I don't know why you're doing that, girl, but let me see. I saw another one. Childbirth stimulation That's what makes it easy for them. When they say like, why do they want us laying down, or what's the benefits of laying down giving birth? Nothing. It just helps them because it's similar to their training. That's how they best know how to help you.
This distressed woman in labor.
Don't drop them. They're slippery.
It's like, girl, amazing. What?
It's just one part of a comprehensive Montefiore Einstein OBGYN training program that uses childbirth simulators to train its most experienced physicians down to Einstein third-year medical students.
Most experienced physicians. I'm sorry. Most experienced physicians. Most experienced physicians. Did they just say that? Hold on, let me go back a little bit. Let me just go back a little bit, because there's no way.
Pediatrics. It's just one part of a comprehensive Montefiore Einstein OBGYN training program that uses childbirth simulators to train its most experienced physicians down to Einstein third-year medical students before they start their clinical rotations.
Don't drop them. They're slippery.
It's amazing to think about being part of such a natural process of bringing life into the world. It's also
a natural process. What we just saw there was a natural process, or am I tripping? Y'all could tell me if I'm tripping, please. Please. That's a natural process?
Scary thinking about hurting the baby and wanting to know you're doing it right, so that
you're worried about hurting a baby. And then she's a third-year medical student. That means she got her bachelor's degree. Depending on what state she's in, you have to either have your bachelor's degree, which is 4 years, or your master's degree, which is 6 years. And then she's a third-year student, medical student. Now you're actually, lost count. Now you're actually 7 to 9 years inside of training. And you're practicing on dummies. And then we be wondering why we can't get our OBs to give us what we need as far as a natural birth. Because look, they just spent 9 years doing this.
That you're guiding this process and only helping.
Our department became involved in simulation in obstetrics relatively early on in the field. Probably about 10 years ago, we started small with a simulator and started working with our attendings and residents on some obstetric skills and obstetrics emergencies.
That position is very, very, very unrealistic. No mom wants to be laying like that. And then the other thing that I talk about in my class is where the contractions are, what's going on with your uterus at the time. You're not going to want to be on your back. The most comfortable position is hands and knees, I would say. That was the most comfortable because it's something about like putting your weight off of your spine that actually helps, because baby's head is there rotating with every contraction trying to come down. This is so unrealistic. Oh, let me move this out the way. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm ruining the visual. There we go.
We've built the program gradually over time into a very robust, active simulation training program.
The Montefiore Einstein Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology and Women's Health is leading a program to train experienced physicians at Montefiore, as well as those in the Mount Sinai Health System and Maimonides Medical Center. They're all with each other. Dr. Goffman, a former Einstein medical student, wondered if students could also benefit from this type of program. She conducted a randomized trial which showed that medical students exposed to simulation training improved in both confidence and participation in actual deliveries.
What? The only thing that's going to give you confidence in actual deliveries is actual deliveries. And I've actually heard a midwife say this too, Dr. Midwife. She was like, girl, the only way you're going to get better at it, get good at it, whatever you're trying to get, is to actually do it as many times as you possibly can. Like, this video is actually like blowing me. I'm about to cut it off, but I just wanted to give y'all.
Breast exams are going to be in
22. I just wanted to give y'all that visual of like the actual training versus their reality. If you ever had a birth, if you ever been to a birth, you know for sure moms are not like, I'm not talking about a birth in a hospital where you're strapped up to 1,000 things, because then it's kind of hard for you to move. You're just uncomfortable. Then you finna ask for the epidural. Like, that's so simple. You finna ask for the epidural. Duh. Like, I asked for the epidural with my second, and I knew for sure I wanted to have a natural birth, but I was hooked up to so many different things because I was induced. And when you're on Pitocin for as long as I was, you have to be heavily monitored because Pitocin is a strong drug. It's a very strong drug. So you have to be heavily monitored as far as like the blood pressure monitor, your baby's contractions, how the baby's handling the Pitocin. Because even with natural labor, your baby has to handle those contractions well. So the midwife is always stepping in, like, okay, let me check baby's heart rate before or after a contraction. And sometimes, possibly, depending on what they're hearing before or after, their recovery is after the contraction, right? Depending on what they hear during the recovery time, they might want to hear it during too. So your baby on Pitocin is like basically, labor on 1,000 for both of y'all. So anywho, that's what I be talking about. I'll be saying, like, I just be ranting, but okay, that was just one bullet point. They're training versus reality. Okay, just get that in your head that your body is smarter when it comes to birth than the actual doctor is. Because most of the time it be males who ain't never gonna ever even be able to relate to you, or it's women who also ain't never gonna be able to relate to you because they ain't never had no children. So I just hate that about them too, that they just want you to just put your legs up, like make it easy for us because that's how we were trained. And now y'all can see why. But the other thing that I wanted to mention is the difference between routine and required. So there's a bunch of stuff that's routine. Testing, monitoring while you're in labor, things like not being able to walk around. This is just routine. Routine versus required is two different things though, because technically moms can decline every single thing. Every single thing. That's your body. That's what autonomy is all about. Like you can literally decline everything. If you don't want the diabetes test, if you don't want the Down syndrome test, if you don't want to be checked, the cervical checks, if you don't want to be monitored, if you don't want, you can literally decline everything. And one of the things my doula instructor talked about in the class, because someone brought up like the whole know your rights thing, right? That's your right. That's your body. You can decline everything. That's all you have to know. That's literally all you have to know. And then after that is just verbiage, how you're going to decline. So can you please mark that in your chart that I'm declining Pitocin, that I'm declining cervical exams? Can you please just mark that in your chart? It's simple as that. Just mark it in your chart because I don't want to keep having this discussion. You don't have to be all aggressive, rude, or anything. I don't want to keep having this discussion. So just mark it in your chart that I'm not going to be continuously monitored during labor. And then always, I do want to put this out there too, that questions should always be asked. Like, is my baby in danger right now? Because a lot of times moms claim that they had an emergency C-section that saved their life, but you were scheduled. They scheduled you. So was it an emergency or was it scheduled? Emergencies happen right then and there. Right then and there. It's an emergency. We need to get your baby out right now. Or was it scheduled when the OR opens up, we're going to give you a C-section? Like, that's not an emergency that saves your life. So we need to ask questions like, is my baby in danger right now? Am I in danger right now? Why do I feel like this keeps happening to me? Am I tweaking? But anyway, that's an emergency. Yeah, so just knowing that nothing is required, do your research, get a second opinion, get a third opinion, ask those questions. What are the benefits? What are the risks? All of those things, okay? It's helpful. Then the other thing, this goes with having the research. The other thing I wrote down is evidence-based information. I just want to mention that these doctors are working around the clock. They're working around the clock. Like they have 12 or 15-hour shifts, I think. When do they have time to look at new studies? When do they have time to actually look at the research? They don't. They're just going based off their training. And that training goes back to the history of obstetrics, which is when we was enslaved. That's when they first started trying to normalize obstetricians and make all of their little protocols for what type of care we should be giving. So the training hasn't changed. The system hasn't changed. When do these doctors have time to actually step out and be like, unless you like somebody like my favorite doctor, Dr. Akili, he don't be playing. He's like, hold on, what I'm prescribing these people ain't working. So let me look into this. He actually, you will find doctors like that, like will take their time and be like, let me actually look into this. Because what I've been prescribing people, this ain't working. And then you have the other ones that's just like, well, it is what it is. And it is what it is. That's it. They're here to do a job. And some of them might be so discouraged too, because they got into the job thinking that they're going to save lives, all of this stuff. And now they're so discouraged because it's like, damn, I'm losing more lives. Like, okay, back to Grey's Anatomy. There was this part where Derek Shepherd had felt like he lost so many lives that he wanted to just quit. Like he didn't want to be a doctor no more. And he was like, man, I got into this to save lives. Like, how realistic do you think that really is? Like, I really feel like they don't get into it to like harm people and stuff. It's just they were trained based off a system that was not meant to help us. That's really all it is. It wasn't meant to help us. And then when they going along with it, thinking they're going to help people and this and that, and then they're realizing they're losing more lives than they're saving, they start getting depressed themselves. And it's like, damn, well, I done went to school for 9 years to do this. I can't just quit now. Like, can you imagine being trained for 9 years and then being like, well, I don't want to do this no more? That's crazy. Like, they're not about to do that. So a lot of them just become content, you know, whatever, I'm doing my job and I'm going home. A lot of them just going with the flow themselves. So they're not actually, majority of them are not actually taking the time to be like, let me figure out what is wrong with this training. Like I mentioned, Dr. Akili, he's like, no, there's something wrong with what I'm teaching these people and what I'm giving to these people. So Evidence-Based Birth is a website that I use. I'm about to give it to y'all too. I love this website too. I actually love the podcast more than the website. So let me get y'all the podcast because I feel like listening to the audio is better because they don't only give you the actual studies. No, girl, that's not it. Podcastia. They don't actually give you the studies that were, you know, conducted already and the results of the study. There's a lady, I forgot her name, but she's an actual researcher. And she actually will break down the study to you, like, this is what this means, this is what this means, and blah, blah, blah. So this is the podcast, the only one that I would really recommend when it comes to evidence-based stuff, because they really break it down. Like, she'd be like, these studies were actually done in a place where they never do episiotomy. So that basically negates the whole study because you can't do a study on episiotomies in a place that never does it. It's best to do studies in places that have high episiotomy rates. So whatever, if that makes sense, y'all, you'll get it once you start listening to the podcast. But I actually had a doctor tell me that she had to cut the cord. This is just an example. She said she had to cut the cord in order for the placenta to detach from the uterus so the mom could push out the placenta. This was after her baby was born. And I'm like, damn, like you really, like you either really didn't care about lying in front of this whole room of people or you really believe it. It's either one or the other. Because there's no possible way that you out here living in this world thinking that that is the case. Like people are having lotus births now. People are showing the cutting of the cord while the placenta is right next to it. Like we know that we can give birth to our placentas before you cut it. So why would you even say that to me? But then I thought, like, this lady don't have no children. She's an OBGYN. She has no children. And she spends majority of her time in this hospital. So when does she have time to be like, what are the benefits of cutting the cord or not cutting the cord? Hey, Kayla girl. Yeah, no, she really believed that. I think so too. I think she really believed it. And that's what blew me the most. Because it's like, damn, you my doctor. Like you're like, that makes me a little bit sad. Like you're my doctor. And this is what you, okay. So anyway, That was one of my things. And then, oh, okay. So anyway, I'm about to wrap this up, right? Okay, so just want you guys to remember that you are your baby's first advocate, not the doctor, not the hospital. Nobody has your baby's best interest at heart more than you do. So with that being said, we have to really be on our toes when it comes to this system. My daughter calling me. It's time for me to go anyway. But we have to really be on our toes when it comes to this system. We have to really be prepared to advocate for ourselves. We have to really be prepared to come in knowledgeable about the stuff too. Like we can't just come in saying we decline stuff and we don't have no knowledge of it. Like when I declined the vitamin K shot, there were several doctors that came into the room to convince me otherwise. And I would just ask them questions. I'd be like, oh, well, what's in it? Oh, well, it's just a vitamin that helps. Is there anything else in it? Just a vitamin? Where did the vitamin come from? What kind of food did it come from? Because how do you get a vitamin that's not from food? I would just ask them questions, really, because I'm a troll, so I like to piss people off, especially when I know they don't know what the hell they talk about. I will ask them questions. And the doctors be like, you should just get it. Like, they just got to the point where they was like, you should just get it. Like, I'm okay. Like, I would like to be more informed on it. Can you show me the package insert on it? Like, you can't, then why are you even here to talk to me about it? Like, so all you have is scare tactics. That's it. You have no information. So I want y'all to come with information. Come with information. That would make me feel better. That would make you feel more confident and all of that. Okay. So yeah, that's it. The only thing else I have to tell y'all is that I have a class tomorrow, which I'm excited about. I'm going to be actually teaching this class every Thursday for the rest of my life. No, I'm playing. Every Thursday for a while until I realize that people don't like the class. If people don't like the class, I'm never going to teach it again. But tomorrow I'm teaching it. And it's about how to kill the fear of giving birth. So I'm excited about that because it's basically like a portion of the very first class in my childbirth course. So it's going to be pretty interesting. And I'm happy that I'm actually like going to be actually teaching something because I went to a lot of classes before, and not to knock nobody else's class, but I'm just saying when people be doing free classes, they don't be talking about nothing. They just be like, hey, you should buy this. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Okay, I went on this discovery call with this lady that I really, really, really love listening to her information. She has a podcast. Not even gonna say her name because I feel like that's petty. But yes, and that's the other thing too. I was gonna talk about that. Like, if your doctor suggested the COVID shot while it was in the damn trial phase, like that's an instant red flag. Should have been fired. Honestly, should have been absolutely fired. Should have been absolutely fired. Yeah. You know what? I was thinking about that this week too, girl. I was thinking about that. But yeah, you should have absolutely fired her because every single vaccine, there's not one, not just COVID. COVID is brand new, so it make it even more stupid that you recommended to me. But every single vaccine, the package insert says, should I pull up vaccine package inserts on here one day? I think that'll be so fun because I love looking at those. People be like so surprised. But the actual package insert says there are no studies to prove this is safe for pregnant or nursing women. All of them say that, not just the COVID one. All of them say that. There's no vaccine that says it's safe for pregnant women. None. So, hey, if your doctor offering you that, especially more than once, bruh, you ain't my doctor no more. You fired. If you did it once just because it's company policy, you had to ask, I got to check mark the box of what I got to ask at these appointments, then okay, whatever. You're doing your job. But to keep asking me, you tweaking now. I think you really believe in it. And I think that's crazy. And I just posted on my Facebook today that it said the studies of what has been shown in the last 2 years, 44%, that's damn near half. And that's just reported. So y'all got to remember women that don't report. But the 44% of the reported women that got the shot lost their baby or had a stillbirth. Had a miscarriage or a stillbirth. Pregnant women. So, anywho, what was I saying about my class? Yeah. So I went on the discovery call with this lady. I really, really love her. Great information. As far as like my entrepreneur life, I'm trying to learn more information just from women. But I booked a discovery call with her and it was so pointless. And then it was like, why do you expect me to sign up? You didn't give me anything to work with here. Like, no, my class always has homework. That's for one. I'll just start by saying that. There's always going to be homework. There's never not going to be homework. Like, I'm going to give y'all something to do, especially with y'all being pregnant. I just feel like I only have that limited amount of time to actually get you to like get your head on straight before your baby here or before other influences like the doctor's status that we talked about earlier is more influential to you. So, yeah, I definitely want to make an impression, and that's my goal. She was the only one that didn't ask. Man, she probably knew better. Like, I ain't offering that shit to nobody. Bruh, that's what's up because no. But yeah. All right, y'all. Hope y'all have a good night. I'm done. I'll be back on Saturday. So make sure you text the number below 312-847-3722. Text me whatever you want, but you could also text me womb to be notified about the podcast. So yeah. All right, bye y'all.